What is going on YouTube? I am Brandon. You are back in the Gills Trap Garage, and after many technical difficulties, including me about to throw a brand new GoPro I've never recorded 30 seconds of footage on before, we are back at it. We are on Allie's 883R today. I'm going to be going over some things that I found on the bike, some things maybe to worry about, some things maybe to not. But the main purpose of this video is going to be how to change your exhaust gaskets and your flanges. So if that's all you're interested in for this video, you can click to this time stamp right here. And if you want to know what's going on with the bike, stick around and we're going to get into it. I've got a little list. Like I said, not too big a deal, especially for a used motorcycle, but I'm going to prep, I'm going to clean off my toolbox here, kind of spread some stuff out across it, and I'm going to bring the exhaust up here. I've got this little kit here. I've got some gaskets, a couple new flanges, new exhaust nuts, and the rings for the flanges should be in there. That's a big part of what we're doing here, because when they get old and rusty, sometimes they spread out, they clamp weird, and they break. So I'm gonna clean this off, set up on the tripod, and we're gonna get into it. And hopefully before too long, we're gonna be going for a little motorcycle ride. I guess my whole thing about that timestamp is going to be a little screwed up, because I was going to talk about some of the stuff we found on the bike as I was working on the bike, and I can't work on the bike until I do this part of it. So I guess, oh well, we're going to change exhaust gaskets and talk about the bike. Sorry about that. I'll probably just edit that part out if I'm being honest, but what we've got going on here is we have two different flanges on here. We've got this real thin one. We've got a real thick one. I had a brand new one. Well, this one was used, but I've got a new one of each, so I could have made this one match. Or I could have dug out of my kit and I could have made this one match. But these kits are pretty cheap right here, so probably just some cheap Chinese crap that I found online. But I've used them before. They haven't let me down. That's what we're going to run. See, I was even pulling out exhaust gasket pieces. I don't have a complete set of any exhaust stuff right now. Well, didn't have a complete exhaust set. So we got to free this one up. This one was a pretty big chore to get off of the bike. I think if we give it a little smack, then we'll get it off. Yeah, just like that. This is not the forever exhaust for this bike. You can see it's kind of rusty, kind of just not that great. But I guess it's good for now. If anyone's got a lead on a nice, or I mean decent stainless exhaust for a rubber mounted Sportster, then let me know. Maybe we can work out a deal. They sell a tool to pull these off and install them. I do not have that tool. These can be pretty sharp. If it starts to chew me up, I'm just going to get some gloves. So I'm not really too concerned about destroying the old one, because I'm not trying to reuse it. You can be a little more fragile with them, or a little more gentle with them if you're in a position where you have to reuse it. Like even that'd still probably work, but if they stretch out too far, then sometimes they'll expand and they'll come up over the flange on the exhaust, and then your exhaust won't be held on. This is the one I was worried about because it was the rusty guy. That's moving. Now we're going to slip that on. If I didn't have this heat shield, or I was really worried about scratching the finish on the exhaust, I'd take a zip tie and I'd hold that up there so this couldn't drop down very far. But like I said, this exhaust is it's nothing, I guess, near and dear to me. So the tool that you can buy for these, it'll clip into these pieces here. You squeeze it, it'll expand it just enough. But we should be able to just walk this guy over. There we go. There's one. So flat side down. Get your ring on. All right, let's move over to the bike and we're gonna rip out the exhaust gaskets and install our new ones. So when it comes to these gaskets, I like to just take a little angled hook, a little pick. I get under it. This one's gonna come out real messy. This is a good example then. I just will try to work it in one little corner and destroy that thing pulling it out, just like that. I'm gonna do the back one now. You won't be able to see me do it, but I'm gonna do it real quick. Now, just try to wipe this up a little bit. I thought I did a good job cleaning this thing. There's still some spots that looks like I missed. I'm gonna have my buddy do some paint correction on it. But anyway, I'll get into that here in a minute. So with the new exhaust gasket, I kind of roll it a little bit. I don't want to crease it. I just roll it, make it a little oblong. There's a tool you can buy to set these in here. I have never used one. And that is how to install a gasket. I'm going to do the rear one, then we'll get ready to mount the exhaust here. I'm not going to get into exhaust alignment, I don't think, because like I said, I wanted to talk about what I found on the bike. So now that the how-to part of the video is done for just the exhaust gaskets, then I can do that. Alright, now that that's done, I can pick that up a little bit and we're gonna get this exhaust thrown on. And while I'm doing that, like I said, we can talk about some of the repairs that I need to make, some of the repairs and modifications I want to make. This exhaust is so heavy. So I've got my list pulled up here for things that I've found on the bike. Let's talk about it. Exhaust seals, exhaust flanges, which we just did. I've got shock bushings that are blown out. I'm really trying to convince Allie to go back to stock height on the bike here. She's a little hesitant because she likes it being low to the ground. What do we got? The brake linkage here. It looks like it's been welded back together at one point. Like it was cut and then re-welded. But then I was looking at replacements online and I saw another one that looked like it, like a brand new one. It looked like it had that splice in the middle, but I think I'm gonna get one of those adjustable linkages so I can set the height for her. I just close that out. So we got brake linkages, the clutch perch, which I've talked about that in other videos. This bike has been dropped before and it's kind of smashed in. We've got, I want to do wheel bearings for preventative maintenance. I've not pulled the wheel bearings yet, but it's just one of those things that's good to do. It needs tires, so I'll probably do wheel bearings the same time I do tires. Let's concentrate here for a second. All right, I'm so sick of this thing. So, yep, that's what I was talking about, the wheels. Now, of course, we're gonna do spark plugs. I have everything to do an oil change. I need to do an oil change. There is a tiny little oil leak at the shifter on the primary. I mean, like real small. And then on the rear valve cover, there's a little leak there, which I wanted to open these up because it sounds like when it's hot, I got a noticeable tick. I mean, it's a Harley. You can say they're just like that. You can say you can fix it. You can say whatever you want. I wanted to open it up, see if there's anything to be concerned about there. I also, when I change the spark plugs, I'm gonna run a bore scope down into the cylinders just to see how the life is on them, how they look. One of the things I want to do for the front fender is I hate the stock profile on the fender, like that big old gap in there. I'd like to close that up a little bit. This is kind of a stepped, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that on this stock one because this bracket here is stepped, but I'd like to close that gap up. If I could take up like half of that gap, then I would be a little bit happier with the way that it looks. Start doing the dance here. Had I known this was going to become such a pain, I would have shuffled the bikes on the lift around and put this up on the lift because I'm gonna have parts for the other one tomorrow. And I was trying to avoid that, but now I'm sitting here killing my back. But what are you gonna do? Now we start the dance on snugging this thing up. So as you tighten these up, you can kind of manipulate the way the exhaust sits. I need to bring the top in to sit closer to this bracket. I can do this better than I can explain this, so I'm just not going to explain it. But the bottom line is we've only got about another month before the salt's gonna be on the road, and we gotta park these bikes. And that is a little bit of a bummer, but we knew the time of the year that we bought this bike at. And one thing I just realized today is that I still haven't got this thing registered. They actually didn't send me the paperwork that I need to register it until it was already expired. So there's that. My trucks do, Allie's trucks do. Yeah, everything's due. Registration's due on everything right now. Been due. And I still don't know that I'm using the right nut here. Okay, I got everything snug. Now I'm gonna put everything on the longer ratchet. These don't take a lot of torque. The exact torque spec can be found in your book. I'm not even gonna pull out my torque wrench. One thing to know too, I should have merch out by the time this video comes out. I am making it a point, a priority, whatever you want to call it, to have something out. I might start small with some hats. Hats are easy. Everyone wears them. And then if you guys sell out the hats or whatever it is, then I can roll it into the next thing. And I'm going to, depending on how it sells, I'm going to make it a point and an effort to consistently have merch. That all goes back to one of my last videos that came out. What do I want? How am I gonna get it? I want to really put an effort into this YouTube stuff on bigger production and all that stuff. You guys can watch that video and kind of, I'm not gonna go into all that again, but you know, trying to run this YouTube and the bike stuff like a business again, like I used to, because I enjoy it. This is, I mean, despite me getting all mad at this thing here because I didn't want to do an exhaust today, this is what makes me happy. I enjoy doing this stuff. It's fun, it's rewarding, satisfying, usually relaxing. Maybe not today so much, but I mean, you get it. I didn't even take this bracket loose, or this part of the heat shield loose, and boy is it. Well guys, that does it for the exhaust on Allie's Sporty. Stay tuned for repairs and upgrades and all that good stuff. She's getting some cool stuff for Christmas. She just doesn't know what it is yet. Still kind of a far out event, but at the same time she gets those upgrades, I want to do some powder coating and some things like that. So like I said, merch should be out. Please check that out. No matter how you show your support, it is greatly appreciated. I'm getting away from all the like, comment, subscribe, and all that. What it comes down to is I'm grateful for however you show your appreciation towards me, towards Allie, towards the channel, towards our adventures, right? So stay tuned for more. Thank you for doing what you do so you can help me make this possible, because this is the dream. This is the fun stuff for me. I mean, check it out. I got Allie Sporty's pretty sweet. I got a cute little kid that's all into Harleys. My bike back there. Customer upgrades. We're doing some stuff to the car. It's all possible because you guys like seeing what I do. So, thank you for your support, no matter how you show it. Have fun, be safe, ride reckless. Let's have fun.